Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Out podcast. We're back again with another show. We've got was this two in 1 week, Jay? I think we're setting new records. Yeah, we need to slow down, don't we? I reckon.
Mate, shaking. I don't even know how we're going to do it. We're new to this podcast thing, mate. I don't know how it's going to go. You never know. It might not be a success. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll be all right, I reckon. But yeah, I'm joined by Jay. Nice to have you on again, Jay, lad. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, mate.
Good stuff. And we've also got Empire of the Cops, Farrell Keelling. Farrell, you like to call me the fifth Beatle. I'm going to call you the third Beatle.
Oh Christ! I've gone up the pecking order. No, thanks for having me on.
Well, I think you were the fifth, and we had Matt and Tim, so maybe you were quick math. I can't do that. Fourth or fifth or sixth, but now they've both fucked off. So you might as well be the third lad. You can have
promotion.
It.
Christ!
If you want it, it's yours. 50p
Go on,
pay
then I'll have it. But, oh well, yeah.
But boys, that's obviously last night. Fortunately, lost to Salzburg 1-0. But I just thought we'd have a little chat about that and how we felt about that game. Obviously, pretty much two teams first half, and then a few changes half time, and then a load more changes with the big guns coming out 60. Jay, I just thought, what initial thoughts on the game as a whole before we dive into it a little bit more deeper?
Yeah, another good run out. You're playing a team that's already started their season, so you can't really make up a massive. You can't really kick up a massive fuss about it, really, because they're already well, sort of tuned in playing matches and stuff like that. They'll have a point to prove by coming over, because we've had, their pants down a few times the last couple of years. So yeah, it's one of them, mate. As long as no one got injured, that's all you can ask for, and there's getting legs in the team and stuff like that. So I didn't lose my head over it, because I expected it. Most pre-seasons you don't win every single game, and you're not really supposed to, because you are playing two different teams most games. So yeah, I didn't really think much of it, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, same. And Farrell, pretty much similar to Jay there on thoughts as a general overview.
Yeah, no, I think as Jay's sort of rightly sort of pointed out, I think Salzburg's season has already pretty much started. So we're at completely sort of different levels in terms of where we want to be. Fundamentally, we're still right in the heart of pre-season, getting fitness up, making sure the fundamentals are on point, the tactics, with betting in the sort of new signings. I think Klopp sort of came out even after the game and said it's sort of been a bit harsh on Darwin Núñez, because if he'd been around, Núñez, if he'd been around in the second half with the what are perceived to be our first choice lads, you think he's going to get those kind of opportunities with the better players to feed him the right ball. I think there's plenty there to admire in terms of where he was sort of putting himself positionally, but I don't think there's anything to worry about. I think, if anything, to be honest, I think Klopp would have been delighted with that. It was probably the perfect pre-season game. Everyone was getting stuck in, probably a bit more, too much for our liking. Some of the challenges from Salzburg's lot were a bit sort of rough and tumble for pre-season. But I think it just had everything in it that you sort of want from that, in terms of being a proper challenge, being a proper sort of as close to competitive conditions as you can get in a pre-season game. No one came out injured, as far as I'm aware. So I think we can't really complain.
Yeah, I think it was the first 5 minutes where Carvalho nearly gets sliced in two twice by the right back, and you can see it cuts to Klopp, and Klopp's like, fucking two challenges in the first 5 minutes, but that are a bit too tasty, weren't they, for a friendly? But like you rightly said there, Farrell, they're at a different level in terms of fitness wise. They're going to be sharper than us, and etc. And obviously, I think we did two sessions the day before training wise. I think we might have done a session in the morning before the game as well. So we were a bit tired, but then that's what this is all about: getting players fit and getting players ready for the new season. But in terms of obviously starting 11, we had Adrian in goal, Mabaya right back, done considerably well first 60 minutes before he came off for Trent. You have Gomez, Kanate, Milner left back, then we had Keita, Bajcetic. I don't know if I'm butchering that. I think we talked about this, Faddle, on the podcast on the Empire of the Cop last week, and seemed like we were butchering it. But going with Bajcetic in like the sixth role, we had Keita and Jones beside them, and then we had Elliott, Carvalho, and Núñez. I just thought we'd have a little chat about Bajcetic firstly, because I thought he did. Jay, what do you reckon? I thought he'd done really well. Some of the passes that were one that stands out to me is Adrian plays one into him, and he's kind of surrounded by two, and he just takes a touch and he's away from them. And like for the fact that he's only 17, and I know we don't want to big him up too much because he's a kid. I think I've worked it out. He was 7 months old when we won the number 5 in Istanbul, which is absolutely mental. But he looks like a really tidy footballer, doesn't he? He looks really good.
Yeah, he's a great prospect, mate. I think he was the standout name after the game yesterday. That's what everyone was talking about. And that's always a good thing. You know, people can always say, yeah, well, such and so has had a quiet pre-season and all that sort of stuff. But when you've got a kid who's getting his opportunity and he's grabbing it with both hands, that's a really, really good sign. So I was really impressed with him. I'm not even going to pretend I knew anything about him before he'd even kicked the ball. I'm not even going to go there. But I was pleasantly surprised, and the ability that lad's got and the potential, like I said, he's not going to get thrown in to many games next season. They might have the odd few minutes here and there if he carries on progressing as well as he did yesterday. So yeah, it's an exciting prospect, mate. And it's always good to see that the academies and the prospects are there, because you can get a little bit worried and stuff. And I know a lot of people always want a big shiny new toy for £50 million plus, but if you can unearth a gem like that, then that's always a good thing.
Yeah, and Farrell, it's good, isn't it? Because obviously we didn't know much about him. Obviously, we knew he was in the youth team. He was playing centre half or centre mid, predominantly centre half. For the fact that he's come into the 6 role and he's got enough confidence to play that the way he has, obviously last night and even the game before that, where he got the pre-assist. Is that what it's called, Jay, in ice hockey? The assist before the assist.
It's not called a pre-assist, it's just assist. But it counts because that could be the better ball, and then I play it to you, and you just tap it to the person who scored. So I think a pre-assist, yeah, it does make my teeth itch, but I love you for it anyway.
Well, there's me trying to be cosmopolitan and get the ice hockey roots in. I won't be doing that again.
No, you keep doing it, my love. You keep trying. I love you for it.
The little ice puck thingy and the stick and the ball and the net. Yeah, Farrell, he was. Bajcetic
I've got
was,
two here.
Oh, look at that.
Which one do you want to play with?
I'll have a game later. Yeah, but Farrell Bajcetic was good, wasn't he? In terms of just getting on the ball, making things happen. Obviously, played well last week, played well this week, and it's kind of one that we haven't. Before the season, like Jace rightly said, before the season started, we weren't even factoring him into any type of, when you do like those shitty breakdowns on Twitter where people do like, oh, 4th in line to the DM throne is this player, blah, 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 3rd in line, that's all that shit. He wouldn't have been even in the question, to the fact that he's kind of came in, and maybe the Tyler Morton links to Blackburn maybe has made him a bit more prominent in Klopp's team, because he might have went out on loan, but it looks like he might not. But overall, he done well again, didn't he? And I think he got 60 minutes again last night.
No, it's beauty of pre-season, isn't it? I think even going in, you sort of expected that some youngsters sort of would break in, so to speak, into the side, the first team to the squad. Obviously, Harvey Elliott's already shown his ability last season. Prior to that sort of unfortunate injury and after, Fabio Carvalho is the main one. Looks like completely ready to make that step up to the English top flight. Looks phenomenal. I'd be vastly surprised if he doesn't make the first team squad in against City. I think there's a good chance he might even start against Fulham, but we'll see on that front. As for Bajcetic, really, really, you almost have to sort of look him up online. Just think, he can't be 17 and this good, this composed on the ball already, in what is fundamentally a very difficult position, I think, in a Liverpool setup. I think you almost don't notice him as much as you do notice him, if that makes any sense. He's not making any sort of critical sort of errors in that role that you might expect of someone without the experience of a Fabinho. Hugely composed for his age. I think he will definitely caught the attention of the coaching staff. I'd be very surprised if, at the very least, we're going to see him in cup competitions, domestic cup competitions, let's put it that way. But with these kind of performances, you do almost wonder if there might be perhaps some level of experimentation further on in the season, a few odd sort of senior minutes in the league here and there. I think, you have to be wary sometimes, I think, to kind of overemphasize sort of in pre-season. But as long as they're showing the sort of the signs at that point, there's certainly no harm in giving credit where credit's due.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, if that role is made for someone who can get on the ball and make those little linked passes, like that's what he did. He got stuck in when it was required. One touch pass. That's what he was all about, and I'm sure that's what they do in training in the sixth role. And we know Fabinho's a master at it, so he's got the perfect person to reach for there in terms of maybe tailoring his game on Fabinho and Thiago. You've got two of the best in the world there to look at, so we're quite fortunate. But another player, obviously, you just touched on there, Farrell. Carvalho done really well, but I just wanted to talk about Curtis Jones, Jay, a little bit, because we know that it seems like a bit of a broken record chat when we chat about this, because we build him up and whatever else, and then we don't necessarily knock him down in terms of us, but like Twitter seems to do it a lot, where I think he done an interview before the game. I saw a quote from Paul Gorst, like he's aiming for 10 goals and 10 assists or so on this season, and then he put in a performance that obviously weren't high quality. He maybe hold the usual stuff, holding onto the ball too long or stuff like that, but it's difficult for him because, like, say his first season, first season was when we had basically Hendo and Fabinho and whoever else centre half. So he played loads more games than he was meant to. That was his first proper season. Last year, we were full strength. He played at less, which is to be expected, but done well in parts. I think there was some games where you thought, right, this is where Curtis Jones is going to come alive, and we want to see this trajectory going forward. But obviously, you've got to factor in that it was only 20, so you're going to get inconsistencies. So I would say this is probably his second season in terms of a full strength team, and he needs to get in there and he needs to get amongst it. And he's 21 now, and I know that's still young, but I think there's high hopes, and I think there's a lot of expectancy, isn't he, on Curtis Jones' shoulders this year?
There is, mate, and there's a lot of additional pressures that the lad has. Local lad, for a start, there's always a pressure when a local lad is on the verge of breaking into the first team and then breaks into the first team. It's very rare you get a Fowler, a McManaman, a Trent, a Gerrard, a Carragher. It's very rare that happens. But when it does, the pressure's there. I know this sounds really stupid, mate, but it was the very first show we ever did. Squad numbers affect it as well. When you are dropping down your squad number pecking order, there's more pressure. The Steven Gerrard factor, we picked that number. People add this shit on top of him. He's not necessarily thought about those things, but those pressures are in the cloud around him. It's going back to, obviously, the most important thing, which is his performances. They have been hit and miss. We can look at a handful of games where he's been amazing and stuff like that, but then obviously the chances that he hasn't performed probably to what he believes is his best as well. So again, I am not a complete Curtis Jones, get him out, whatever, he should be playing somewhere else, or don't put him in. I'm always excited to see him play because the lad's got really, really good potential. My only worry now is that with the signing of Elliott and the signing of Carvalho, we're not just signing players there that are just going to go straight into the midfield that are going to be above Jones anyway. We're actually picking players that are either age-wise below him, but ability-wise, are they slightly better than him? And that's, if I was Curtis Jones now, I would be sort of thinking and be quite worried the fact that because Elliott started, was it 4 games last year before he got injured? He started every game, didn't he? And that was a big surprise to everyone how well he played. Carvalho's got the potential to do that again, and he's already shown it in the handful of games that he's got. So sorry for going on a little bit, but it would be a worrying time. But if he's going to do it, mate, you're absolutely right. He's got to just grab every opportunity while he can. Sorry for going on so long.
No, I think it's a topic that we need to, I think, because like, just you see stuff on Twitter, and I know, like, I keep saying that it's not the greatest thing, and I know it's a good tool for chatting to people, but you'd have to pick and choose who you chat to and who you listen to and whatever on social media, because we know that people just kind of want, like you said, Jay, the shiny new toy that has came through the academy, and they want them to be amazing instantly, and it's not always the case. And like you said, you get compared to Gerrard and whatever else. And yeah, Farrell, what are your thoughts on all this? It's like Jay said, there's a pressure, and there's all those things surrounding the pressure, but there's still got to be patience, hasn't he? There's still got to be that, because like you said, Jay said, Carvalho's came in, Elliott's come in. Elliott weren't. I don't think Elliott and Carvalho were by any means great last night. They looked good in parts, but they looked tired as well, which is, like I said before, the extra sessions and whatever else we need to be in tip-top fitness going into the season. So it's better to get these performances out the way now rather than when the league starts. But yeah, Curtis Jones, what were your thoughts on him going into the season?
Yeah, no, I saw that sort of quote as well about him talking about his target for the season. You almost want the players to come out and, he's not come out and said something ridiculous, like I'm going to hit 40, goals and assists this season. You kind of go, it's ambitious, but it's over a bit. 10 goals and 10 assists. I think he got 5 goal contributions last season. So you're talking 15 more. It's not, it's ambitious, but it's not ridiculous, which is crucially the point. I mean, I'm almost in a state of sort of perpetual annoyance and just embarrassment with sort of sections of Liverpool Twitter, because you look at sort of the response to that and you think, how can you be a Liverpool fan and you've your instant response is, oh, he's shit, he's the next Jay Spearing. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? We're talking.
I would call that. Yeah. I would call that. I'd say that's a good thing. To be fair,
I mean, he's back with us now, isn't he? So he's helping out.
And he wasn't awful. You know what I mean? By any stretch of the imagination.
I think, I mean, obviously he's better than, with all due respect to Jay Spearing, he's better than Jay Spearing was at that age. But I think crucially, it feels almost that some fans treat him like he's a 25, 26-year-old sort of player in the squad. He's been around for a few years. They almost treat him like he's Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, had a really, really good start to his season, to his first season at the club. Massive injury, and it's sort of, we've had better players sort of come in, and it's hard to get. He's 21 years of age. I think Jay's rightly sort of pointed out there are players underneath him where you do start to question ability-wise. Are they better? Look at how Fabio Carvalho has played in pre-season. He's absolutely fundamentally ready for the Premier League right now, as of this moment, and it has been better in pre-season, but it is pre-season for a reason. I think. Fundamentally, it goes back to the question sort of what Klopp was talking about his midfield options. Crucially, Klopp sort of came out in response to all the speculation around whether Liverpool are going to sign players like Matheus Nunes, which is, we don't need a new midfielder. We've got all these sort of players. You've got sort of starting three. You've got Fabio Carvalho, you've got Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott. You even look at, we've been talking about Stefan Bajcetic, and we've got so many players coming through. I think I'd agree with Jay. There is a slight worry in terms of he needs to be aware of the fact that his direct competition at this point in time will be Harvey Elliott and Fabio Carvalho for a starting role. But I'm not so worried as to the point where I feel it's sort of almost a make or break season, if that makes sense. I think that will perhaps potentially come maybe in the season after this one. You're looking at sort of 23, 24 years of age. But yeah, no, I think for him, it's just going to be about sort of getting a bit, more performance, more sort of outings on the pitch. I think it was 27 he got last season. So yeah, more minutes on the pitch, more consistency, and upping that sort of goals and assists to the tally. And I think that will call that sort of a success for him. Just important to him. He's 21 years of age. I think we ultimately have to sort of treat him like that.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. And he's not 22 till January, so halfway. He's got half a season this coming season to kind of see what he's up to, and then obviously turns 22, and then we'll see. I think it's one of them, like, let's have a conversation, a serious one next year after this season, where he's had maybe hopefully more games, and that, like you said, more. Even if he doubles his goal contributions, like you said, Farrell, if he had 5 last year, he gets 10 this year. That for me is a win, because
that's an improvement, isn't it? Right.
Exactly, it's an improvement, and like you said, there's a lot of competition in there. So, but yeah, we could do a show just on Curtis Jones. So let's move on a little bit. Obviously, Liverpool, we lost the game, but the goal scored by Sesko 31 minutes in was a good goal, to be fair. But they just missed an open goal about a minute before that. So it's kind of like, yeah, fair enough. You can have that one because you just missed an absolute fucking dipper.
Really good that Sesko lad as well, actually, isn't he?
He looks good, and then all of a sudden, Man United are strongly linked with him. It's one of them, innit? Like, that he scored against Liverpool. Let's sign him up because he can score some goals. But yeah, so we touched on Bajcetic, Curtis Jones. Obviously, Mabaya done well as well as an attacking outlet going forward. I think he played 60 minutes as well. I think especially in that like second half, just after the break, from 45 to 60, just before Trent come on, he looked really good, didn't he, Jay? Like just bombing forwards. Obviously, he's only 17 as well, but the drive, attacking intent looked really good, didn't it, from him?
Yeah, and I think everybody's going to be like that when they get a sniff of playing for the first team, and there's other first teamers on the pitch, so you are going to see that. Let's just see if it carries on in the under 23s. Let's see if it carries on in the under 18s. And he's still knocking on the door in the training session. So it's all lovely going on tour with the first team and being picked for that. It's great for your ego and stuff like that. And when you're on that pitch, you're going to have to show something. And fair play to him, he absolutely did that. But make sure you're carrying on that consistency when you're back playing at the AXA, because you're not then going to see another first team training session for a long time. So yeah, great for him, pleased. We'll probably get a run out at Anfield on Sunday. And yeah, that'll be a big boost for his ego for a start, because that's what you need. You need that interaction. And I'm sure if he has a fantastic touch and does those runs again like he did, and he does them in front of an Anfield crowd, yeah, it'll do him the world of good.
Yeah, it'll have a bit more impact, won't it? I suppose, seeing him up close and personal. But yeah, obviously we got to half time, 1-0 down. Firmino, Robertson, and Morton all came on for Nunes, Milner, and Keita. I think Morton then goes off again, doesn't he, on 60? So he didn't get very long, Tyler Morton, poor fella. But then Trent, Salah, Van Dijk, Matip, Fabinho, Diaz, Thiago, and Henderson all arrive on 60 minutes. And that last half an hour, Farrell was kind of like, right, the big boys are on. They kind of dropped another 5-10 yards, and we're just like, right, this is a defensive session. Their coach was just really animated, trying to obviously get the win against the Liverpool side. But it was one of those games where we probably could have played for another hour and wouldn't have scored. And I think we were a little bit tired, but you could see the quality, couldn't you? Like I just remember the ball from Trent to Diaz. If Diaz's touch is nice, then we're in, and we've scored. And Diaz also scores a good goal where Bobby should release it for him maybe a second earlier, and he finishes it well. But there was good signs, and I think Klopp said that after the game. There was good signs, wasn't he, Farrell, in terms of us looking sharp, albeit a bit tired, but looking sharp.
Oh yeah, mate. And I wouldn't be. I'm not worried at all from that. That performance. I think the amount of chances we'd had, if we'd been sort of vaguely sort of lethal on the day, we'd have absolutely destroyed them. To a similar extent that we did their sister club, Leipzig. I think performance-wise, I think there's just plenty there to admire, and I think obviously Klopp's going to go away and have a sort of think about how he wants to sort of set up for the Community Shield, because he did come out directly after and said, well, Nunez was sort of given the short end of the stick. Could have probably thrived a bit more. He was getting in all these great positions, but it was only isolated. I think there was that. I can't remember. Was it the first? I think it was the first half. I think there was that ball from Keita, a bit of a lofted ball, bit more sort of direct than maybe we used to at Liverpool. But he picks out Nunez in the box, and you think if he gets it sort of under tighter control and gets a shot, it is such a completely different option. I know I'm kind of going off on a sort of tangent here, but I think fundamentally, even in both halves with the different sides, there was a lot to admire about how we were sort of getting about our business. And I think I'm not really bothered. As you pointed out yourself, Mick, we've got these really grueling sort of training sessions that are going on either side of this. Obviously, Salzburg have started their season. That intensity in training will have dropped a little bit somewhat to accept, the reality of the season having started. And obviously the same thing will happen on our end when our season does eventually get started, sort of with the Community Shield, but more officially with Fulham. I think nothing to worry about too much.
But you just mentioned the Community Shield, then Farrell, so we might as well get into
Has
that.
to be mentioned.
We might as well get into that absolute mammoth game, but yeah, Jay, we haven't won it since 2006.
Oof.
So what's that? 16 years, long time. We beat Chelsea 2-1 with John Henrique scored an absolute belter running the whole length of the pitch and scoring. So that was good. We've lost it twice recently, obviously on Arsenal to pens and on to City on pens as well. So It'd be nice to win it, wouldn't it? It's one of, we say this every time we're in it. It'd be nice to win it, but if we don't, it's only a little shit Tin Pot trophy anyway. So
yeah,
50p, as everyone calls it.
I said that in Paris. Be nice to win it, but if not, give a shit about the Champions League. You know, no, mate, it's always nice to set markers and all that sort of stuff. But me and Farrell said, didn't we, before we started recording, that there's been times where we, lost the Charity Shield, and I say there's been one time we lost the Charity Shield and we ended up winning the league. So you can't really make up your mind, other than we're playing City and people think, oh, it's psychology, getting one over on them, stuff like that. It doesn't matter at all. City might beat us on Saturday, but we've lost them before and still won the league. So it doesn't really matter. It's a chance to set a marker, absolutely. It'd be nice to lift it, and then Klopp's got the full set. Jordan Henderson's then got the full set. I mean, he's got the full set anyway, but he's, you know what I mean? It's just adding it and just getting one over on him. Maybe we'll start counting it in photographs as winning, the domestic treble. Maybe we'll start doing that, like them lot did. But that might be nice to win it. But listen, the season starts at Fulham. That's all I'm looking forward to. That's where I'll start getting my knickers in a twist about the team lineup and making subs on 60 minutes when it's fucking 0-0 probably and all that sort of stuff, because it's the first away game in a freshly rebuilt Craven Cottage and it's Carvalho's old club and everything's just there, isn't it, just for the mess up. But I'm going off a tangent now, sorry. The Charity Shield, mate, be nice to win it, but if we don't, it's fine.
Yeah, and Farrell, I think Klopp confirmed that about an hour ago that Alisson won't be fit for it. Obviously, we saw pictures that he was in training, but then Klopp got asked and said he's not going to be fit, which is a shame. But he will be fit for Fulham, which, like Jay rightly says, is the one we're all looking forward to. That is the start of the Premier League season. But obviously, we haven't had Kelleher because he's also injured. Thought Adrian had a bit of a wobble last night when he comes running out doing like a karate kick, but it was offside. But he made a few good saves as well. So it looks like it's going to be him in goal. So I just thought we'd have a little chat about who we reckon will start that game. And I just thought I'd come to you first, Farrell. So obviously you've got Adrian in goal. Give us your other 10 members of the team that are going to start against Man City.
Okay. So your fullbacks are obviously sorted. You Robbo and Trent. Central defence, if you're judging by what happened against Salzburg, you'd say it's probably going to be Matip and Van Dijk. I was quite surprised he didn't have Konate starting alongside Van Dijk in the second half, to be honest, given the way pre-season was shifting, but it seems to be heading that way. Midfield, I reckon it's just going to be pretty much your bog standard Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago. Up front, again, I think Firmino, Salah and Diaz. I think, to be honest, I'm of a similar sort of mindset to Jay. I think the more I could really care less about the lineup that's going to be set up against City. I think the far more interesting lineup is how we set up against Fulham. I think this is going to be pretty much bog standard.
Jay, you echo those thoughts?
100% echo it. I'll be happy with that anywhere now.
Here's me trying to build up a show for a community shield. It's pointless, isn't it?
Yeah.
So much disrespect.
I know, it is. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And it's a game we don't play that often, you know what I mean? In terms of like, you've got to win one to get into it. So it'd be nice. It's just weird. It's in Leicester. It's not at Wembley and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, everything just seems a bit off at the minute. But, see what happens. We'll be watching it regardless.
Yeah, we will be. And like you said, it's whether it's one of those things. If we lose and we still win the league, then it doesn't matter. But if we do win it and we win the league, it was that win over City that was psychologically
maybe
that was the start of it. But yeah, like you said before as well, Joe, we've got a game on Sunday against Strasbourg, which I'm going to, which hopefully some big players will play in. But yeah, let's hope we win it. And I just thought before we start wrapping up a little bit, Jay, you had a little documentary come out recently. Do you wanna tell everyone about it?
Yeah, where's Matt's plug that he usually gets out when I'm plugging my documentaries? Yeah. So if you're new to the channel, the Sammy Ippia, the story of Sammy Ippia got released. So was it? Yeah, did we do it last night or the night before? I can't remember. No, night before, wasn't it? Anyway, regardless, the Sammy Hippie documentary has just dropped, which is episode 3 of our Copite Origin series. We started doing it with Patrick Berger. We did it with Robbie Fowler, and now Sammy Hippie is the subject of that. Just sort of reflecting on the 10 years that Sammy spent with us. And yeah, it's, Sammy seeing the trailer and, retweeted it and, put it on his Instagram and said he was looking forward to watching it. So Sammy's been sent it. So he's away at the minute. So obviously he'll probably get around to watching it and stuff. But it's not about that. It's about putting it out there for the viewers and stuff, and just basically showcasing a bio of a player. There's not many documentaries on, specific players and stuff. And that's what we want to do at the Copite podcast, is just showcase those. And the documentary's been out for a couple of days, and the feedback to it already has been amazing, hasn't it, Mick? Really, really pleased with the feedback so far, and seems like everyone's enjoying them. So, the more people enjoy them, the more we will make them. And we'll start guessing who will be episode 4 very, very soon, because I've got the itch. I finished one already, and I'm like, yeah, let's just start cracking on with the next one. But yeah, thank you to everyone that's watched it so far. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, keep the comments and the likes coming, because it helps mine and Mick's channel grow quicker. So appreciate it.
You know what? I every time I saw like a Sammy Hippie story, I was like, oh, here we go. He's seen it. He's posted it, and it was just him with a pair of like fucking ski boots on. I was like, fuck off, Sammy. That's not what I want. That's not what I want from you right now. I know you're enjoying your holiday, fucking hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have a little look on the channel, it's the most recent one, obviously before this, so you should be able to find it. So do go and have a little watch of that. It's half an hour, but it doesn't seem like it, because you get lost in the world of Sammy Hippie, which is obviously a very good world to be lost in, because he was such a fucking amazing defender, and you don't really appreciate how good he was maybe until you, obviously I'm going to say before you watch this video, you probably appreciate him anyway, but you know what I mean, like you can kind of sit back and look at the amount of appearances he's put in, the stuff that he lifted, being captain and getting a tuck off him, stuff like that, which is really good, and boss work again by Jay. So go and watch that. But yeah, gents, I thought we'd leave it there. So thanks very much, Jay, for jumping on. Thanks to Empire of the Cops Farrell Keelling for jumping on again.
Thanks for having me.
Who do you want to be then? Do you want to be are you Ringo or the other one?
Don't give me Ringo. Give me the other one.
I don't know why I said the other one. That's such disrespect. Sorry, George.
Give me George.
Yeah,
I'll take George.
Yeah, if you did like this video, please do drop a like and comment, and even comment with your score prediction. We haven't done score prediction, but if you want to do that, then go ahead and do it. And do subscribe. We're trying to hit 1.5 subs before the new season, which is getting closer. I think we're on 1.35, so we're not far off. But we're getting there. If you're listening via podcast, then go and give us a follow on there, or leave us a rating, or even leave us a review if you're feeling extra generous. But yeah, thanks again to Jay. Thanks again to Farrell. We'll be back hopefully this weekend, clutching our 16th Community Shield. But if not, then fuck it, doesn't matter. Up their heads, and we'll see you next time.